take a breath in and let it go. You don't have to do anything with tonight. You don't have to be okay. You don't have to have figured it out. Just be here. I have been thinking about letting go, about how easily we say it. Let go, move on, release, as though the thing you're holding isn't also holding you. I have held things so long, the shape of them is pressed into my palms. Old grief with no name, old anger at someone who will never apologize. Old stories I kept telling myself so I wouldn't have to write a different ending. I held a version of a person long after they had become someone else entirely. Held a version of myself I had already outgrown. Held on to what happened like the holding could somehow unhappen it. Everything I have ever let go of had claw marks on it. Not because I was broken, not because I didn't know better, but because I am someone who loves fiercely. Even the things that were costing me, even the things I should have set down years ago. I confused endurance with devotion. I thought if I just held on long enough, something would change. Someone would come back. Something would finally make sense. And maybe something did. Maybe the thing that changed was me. Tonight, I am not asking you to let go. I would never ask that of you. I am only asking you to rest, to set down the weight for the length of this night. Not forever, just tonight. And maybe, in the resting, the grip loosens a little on its own. If you found this tonight, I think some part of you already knows why. There is something you have been carrying, maybe for weeks, maybe for years, maybe for so long that it no longer feels like something you're holding. It just feels like you. In shadow work, the kind of deep, quiet healing that so many people are moving into right now, there is one question that changes crease everything. It isn't, why does this hurt? It is, what is the part of me that believes the holding keeps me safe? Because the subconscious mind doesn't hold on to things for no reason. When we cling to something that is hurting us, some part of us has made a quiet decision that releasing the pain means losing the lesson, that forgiving means saying it was okay, that letting go means losing the last living thread to something we loved. None of that is true. But it feels true at midnight, doesn't it? So tonight, you don't have to believe anything different yet. You don't have to heal on command. You just have to let these words hold what you've been holding. Let this hour carry it for you, and see what your hands feel like when they're free. Let's come into the body now. Not to fix anything, not to analyze, just to arrive. Feet. Feel the weight of your feet, the way they rest, the way they have carried you through every hard day. You've survived. Legs. Notice if there's any tension held in the legs. Not to judge it, just to know it's there. Breathe into it. Let the weight of the blanket remind you that you are held. Hips. The hips carry what the mind doesn't know how to name yet. Old decisions, old heartbreaks, old places you ran from. They live here. And tonight, you don't need to excavate them. Just let them soften, even a millimeter. Belly. Notice the rise, the fall. Your belly has held worry in it for so long, it might feel strange to let it soften. Let it soften anyway. Chest. This is where grief lives. The chest contracts around loss. The way the hand contracts around something precious it is afraid to drop. What are you holding in your chest tonight? You don't have to tell anyone. Just acknowledge it. Just let it be known. Shoulders. These have been carrying the weight of other people's needs, other people's expectations, maybe even other people's pain. Let them drop, just slightly, just for now. Jaw. The jaw holds every word you swallowed, everything you wanted to say and didn't, every question that didn't get asked, every boundary that didn't get spoken. Let it unclench. You don't have to say anything now. You have already said enough for today. Eyes. They are closed and they are tired. From looking for signs, from watching for danger, from scanning every room to see if it was safe. It is safe here. Now, the whole body, all of you, the parts that hurt, the parts that are healing, the parts that are waiting to understand something they don't understand yet. You are here. You made it to tonight. That is enough. I want to tell you something about hands. There was a woman, I think of her often, who spent years tending a garden that had stopped growing. Every morning, she came out with her watering can. Every evening, she checked for signs of green. And every season, the earth gave back nothing. But she wouldn't stop. because the garden had once been so alive. Because she could still remember what it smelled like to stand inside it. Because she had planted the first seeds with someone she loved. And to stop going back felt like admitting that what had been planted there was never going to come back. We all have a garden like this, a relationship we keep watering, a version of ourselves we keep waiting for, a conversation we keep rehearsing in our heads with someone who may never be ready to have it. And the question isn't, why are you still tending it? The question is, what does the tending protect you from having to feel? Because grief is not a destination, it's a country. And some of us have been standing at the border for years, looking in, knowing what waits for us if we cross. The weight of having loved something you cannot change. The hollow where something used to be. The strange and disorienting task of building a life that doesn't include it anymore. Holding on is the way we postpone that crossing. It isn't weakness. It is the most human thing there is. Here is what shadow work asks of us when we are ready. Not to destroy what we are holding, but to look at it. Really look. To ask, what story is this pain telling me? Is it telling me I am not lovable? Is it telling me I am always too much or never enough? Is it telling me that something about me invited this? Because the wound doesn't just hurt. The wound has a voice. And for most of us, that voice sounds exactly like the one we have been believing our whole lives. The work is not to silence that voice. The work is to ask it, where did you come from? How old were you when you first decided this was true? Was it true then? Is it still true now? Sometimes the thing we are holding is not the event. It is the conclusion we drew from it. The event is over. The conclusion lives on, running quietly in the background, shaping every choice you make without ever announcing itself. And when we learn to notice it, not to fight it, just to notice, something shifts. Slowly, quietly, without ceremony. The claw marks begin to soften. I named it love because it hurt the way love is supposed to hurt. Like something you'd give up everything to keep. I didn't know yet that love that demands your whole self as the price of entry isn't love. It's hunger. And hunger wears love's face very convincingly. When you are the one who is being eaten. I named it strength when I stayed. I named it faith. I didn't know yet that staying in a place that diminishes you is not strength. It is just fear with prettier furniture. What I know now, the love that is real doesn't ask you to become less so that it has more room. The love that is real is spacious. It says, "Be all of it. I will be here for all of it." There is a room inside you have not opened in a long time. You sealed it after, told yourself you'd go back when you were ready. You forgot to go back. Or maybe you didn't forget. Maybe you just knew what was inside. A version of yourself that trusted too easily. A version that didn't yet know that the people who say, "I will never hurt you," are sometimes the ones who do. She is still in there, still waiting, not to be rescued, not to be explained, just to be found. You don't have to open the room tonight, but maybe, just maybe, you could stand outside the door and let her know that you have not forgotten her. I owe my body an apology for the years I treated it like a problem, for the years I asked it to perform without ever asking if it was okay. For every meal I punished it with, every night I kept it awake, worrying about someone who was sleeping just fine. Every time I stood in front of a mirror and cataloged what was wrong. My body held my grief when my mind refused to. My body said, "This is happening. This is real," long before I was willing to admit it. My body was always telling me the truth. I just wasn't listening. So tonight, I am sorry for every time I asked you to shrink. For every time I chose someone else's comfort over your boundaries. For every time I numbed you out because feeling was too much. You deserved better, and we're not finished yet. Grief is not weakness. Grief is not the thing that happens to people who love too much. Grief is what happens to people who loved. It does not arrive on a schedule. It does not honor your plans. It does not care that you have things to do, people who need you. A version of yourself you've been trying to maintain. Grief comes in the grocery store, in the middle of a song you'd forgotten. In the way someone laughs, and for one unguarded second you think, and then you remember. I want to tell you, the grief that ambushes you in ordinary moments is not a sign that you haven't healed. It is a sign that what you had was real. The grief belongs. Let it belong. Not all of it was mine. Some of what I have been carrying was handed to me before I had the language to say no. Someone's unresolved anger, someone's unspoken grief, someone's fear that they passed on to me disguised as love. I absorbed it all, as children do, as sensitive people do. As the ones who were taught that keeping the peace was more important than keeping themselves. But here is what I know now. You can honor someone's pain without carrying it for them. You can love someone across the water without agreeing to drown. Gently, slowly, I am learning to set down what was never mine to begin with. Something is happening, something quiet and unmistakable. I am not the same person I was when I first began carrying this. I have worn the weight differently. I have found muscles I didn't know I had. I have learned the difference between resilience and survival. They are not the same thing. One rebuilds you, one just keeps you standing. The new version of me doesn't have it all figured out. She is more honest than that. She knows what she doesn't know. She says, I need help. She says, I don't want to do this alone anymore. She says, I am allowed to rest. These are not small things. For some of us, they are everything. No one tells you what comes after the letting go, after the grief finally stops being the loudest thing in the room. It isn't emptiness. It is something lighter, something that takes a while to get used to, like taking off a coat you've worn so long you forgot the weight of it. And then you feel the air on your arms, and you think, oh, so this is what light feels like. It isn't happiness exactly, not at first. It is something more honest than happiness, a kind of quiet aliveness. The sensation of being here, now, undivided. Not half of you in the past and half of you in fear. All of you here. It is strange at first, and then it becomes the new ordinary, and then you forget, mostly, what it felt like before. And that is the healing. I give you permission to stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided. To stop rehearsing the conversation that will never happen. To stop measuring your healing against someone else's timeline. I give you permission to grieve the version of the future you planned. To miss what could have been. To say, that was real. And I wanted it, and I am allowed to mourn it. I give you permission to be slow. Healing is not a race. There is no prize for getting there first. And the people who got there fastest are sometimes the ones who didn't actually go. Take your time. You will arrive when you are ready. And something in you already knows the way. There was a man who spent his life studying what we hide from ourselves. Carl Jung, psychologist, dreamer, seeker of the underground places of the self. He called it the shadow. Not a monster, not the villain of the story. The shadow is simply everything you were taught very early that you were not allowed to be. The anger that wasn't permitted. The grief that made others uncomfortable. The need that was told it was too much. The joy that was silenced because the room didn't have space for it. These parts don't disappear. They go down, into the body, into the dark. Into the dreams, and they wait. Jung said that we don't solve the problems of the psyche, we outgrow them. Not by forcing them into light, not by dissecting them until they surrender. By growing, by becoming larger than the wound, by expanding until the wound is no longer the whole of the landscape, just one part of it. He also said something that I have thought about for a long time. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Think about the patterns you have circled back to. The same kind of relationship, wearing a different face. The same moment of abandonment, wearing different clothes. The same quiet belief that you are not quite enough, dressed up in the language of a new situation. Jung would say, that is not fate. That is the unconscious, searching for a chance to finish the story. The psyche wants resolution. It will recreate the wound again and again until you finally look at what is inside it. But here is the grace in that. Every time the pattern returns, every time you find yourself in the familiar ache, it is not a punishment. It is an invitation. There is another idea Jung held that belongs in this night. He called it individuation. The slow, patient, lifelong work of becoming who you actually are, not who you were shaped to be by fear or need or survival, but who you are when you are fully integrated, whole, not perfect, whole. Perfection is an image. It lives outside of you, always slightly out of reach, asking you to keep running toward it. Wholeness is different. Wholeness includes the wound. Wholeness includes the shadow. Wholeness says all of it belongs. The light you are proud of and the dark you are ashamed of. The strength everyone sees and the fear no one knows about. Jung believed that the gold is hidden in the shadow, that the very parts of yourself you have locked away, the anger you were afraid of, the ambition you were told was too much, the grief you thought made you broken, those are often where the energy lives, where the life force is waiting to be reclaimed. What if the things that have claw marks on them are not proof that you loved too much? What if they are proof of your capacity, of the enormous size of the self that is trying to emerge from this? Jung wrote of the dark night of the soul, not as a catastrophe, as a chrysalis, the breakdown that comes before the becoming, the dissolution that precedes the reforming. You cannot force what is forming. You can only stop fighting it. You can only let yourself be soft enough, for the change. There is one more thing. He wrote about the self, capital S, the deeper intelligence underneath the personality. The part of you that has always known more than your mind does, that speaks in dreams, in intuitions, in that quiet knowing that something is wrong before you can name why. Jung believed that the self is always moving toward healing. Even when the conscious mind is resisting, even when the personality is doing everything it can to avoid the truth. The deeper self is already working, right now, in this silence. In this darkness, in the space between one breath and the next. I want to bring you back, slowly, not because the journey is over, but because you need to sleep. And sleep is also healing. Sleep is where the self does its quietest work. Let's return to the body. Notice where you are, the bed beneath you, the pillow, the weight and warmth of wherever you have settled. You came here tonight with something. Maybe you came in grief. Maybe you came in exhaustion. Maybe you came in that nameless ache that has no story attached to it, just a weight. Just a fullness, just too much. Whatever you brought, it was allowed. It is allowed. And now, before sleep, I want to offer you something to carry forward. Not an instruction, not a task, just a question to hold lightly as you drift. What is one thing you are no longer willing to carry as identity? Not the event, not the grief, the story about who you are because of it. Don't answer it tonight. Let the question rest. Let the question work. Something in you already knows the answer. You have always known. You were just waiting for a quiet enough night to hear it. Sleep now. You are safe here. Tomorrow is for living. Tonight is for rest. And you have done enough. You are enough.